Alright, the Pope died. But Zak Starkey's back with the Who. Alright, I'm glad we got that out of the way. Let's talk about Zak Starkey and the Who. Now, Zak Starkey is, of course, the son of Ringo. And he's been the Who's drummer for nearly 30 years. He got fired, and then a couple of days later, he got rehired. I would say it's a W, but really, apparently, I'm not shocked. I thought I would be, but I learned information. So I'm not really shocked. But before we get into why I'm not shocked, let's get into the stuff. Pete Townsend made a post about it, and he wrote, Newsflash, Who back Zak? Wow, Pete, you're making me sound dyslexic. Zak is not being asked to step down from the Who. There have been some communication issues, personal and private, on all sides that need to be dealt with, and these have been aired happily. He then pointed to the full statement on the band's website, which explains the cause of the rift. Starkey's playing at a recent London concert, and I do not want to fucking read it. That's too much words. That's a lot of words. Too bad I'm not reading them.
Wow, that's a lot of words. Too bad I'm not reading them.
Let me give you more context about Zak Starkey and his time with the Who. The crazy thing about, most of this stuff is the fact that Zak has been with the Who since 1996. And Keith Richards, not Keith Richards, am I right? No, not Keith Richards. Wait, there's a lot of Keiths in the music industry. I think I meant to say Keith Moon. Did I? The Who. Is it Keith Moon. I'm sorry I said Richards. I was thinking of the Rolling Stones. Anyways, Keith Moon was the godfather of Zak Starkey, Ringo's son. And before Zak even joined the band, there have been other drummers besides him and Keith, like Kenny Jones, Simon Phillips, and Doug Sandom. Simon was their drummer briefly, actually. He was the drummer in 1989, and then I think they fired him probably, I don't know. And Doug Sandom was their drummer in 1962 to 1964. So I think before Keith, because I don't remember when Keith joined the Who. I know that he died in 1978, so he was probably their drummer for a very long time. Very long time. Kenny Jones was their drummer from 1978 to 1988. So he was the drummer, and then they got Simon, because Simon came in 1989. And then they would eventually get Zak in 1996, even though, according to Google, it's saying 1989, but, yeah, I don't know. But the point I was getting at as to why I'm not surprised, from what I learned, Roger's the one who fires the drummers because they play too loud. My guy. My guy. That's all the problem with Zak, apparently. Apparently they fired Zak because he was playing too loud. Bitch. Playing too loud. You guys are in a rock and roll band. Do you not know what your job is? I know you're going deaf or blind or whatever, but my guy, that's the point of being in a rock and roll band. That's like if they fired Corey Taylor from Slipknot for singing too, like that too loud. Which, hey, wait a minute, that didn't make any sense. I need a better example. That's like if they, well, actually, I don't know what to use. I'm looking at my wall of drawings. That's like if they, fired Freddie and the Dreamers, for doing jumping jacks and shit all the time. I don't know, I really couldn't think of anything else. Anyways, I'm not really gonna say anything else about it. I just figure I should tell you guys about it, even though it kind of feels like old news, but hey, Paul McCartney once said, live and let die, and well, sometimes you gotta take that man's advice before he implodes, you know what I'm saying?